Hello, this is Garin, and today is the 11th of March 2020. Yesterday, a headline was uploaded that someone like me, and I know for sure that some of the industries affected would receive this from both extremes. I just weigh in and bring some points across why I have chosen this position with regards this development from the House. I know that I can just see, friends, longtime friends, whom I will never stop being friends with just because we don't share the same opinion. So can I just weigh in on the approved House Bill number 78 sponsored by Representative Sharon Garin? I'm reading from the Rappler, and I hope that I can engage my longtime friends, like, the active users, Shirley and Rowena, Gilbert, June, I cannot name them all. And to make sure I have their inputs, I'll send them clips of this discussion. The Rappler's headline reads like this: House passes bill allowing 100% foreign ownership of public utilities. But Gabriela Representative Arlene Brosa slams the bill as economic charter change without tinkering with the 1987 Constitution. This article is written by Ms. Mara Cepeda for Rappler and Mr. Edu Punay for Philippine Star. I am not participating in this discussion as an outsider. That's why I had more reason to go deeper than the first blush of facts and statistics. As this will be tackled in the Senate committee and be voted on the floor, may I just put some points across for consideration. It's not only that a dear Ninong sa Binyagas, the same name as that of the sponsor. My Ninong was one of my father's best friends, Ninong Jogarin. He passed away long before my father did. He was the brother of my fourth year advisor at Quezon High, Ma'am Norma Flores. So I caught some of the interpolation, but not all, the entirety. And the 136 approving number compared to 43 negative votes and 1 abstention came to be because of that. There are 2 objections. House Bill 78, the constitutionality, and that it would lead to Filipinos being at the mercy of foreign funds. The way the sentence was constructed, that by itself, it's very contentious, in my opinion. On the constitutionality, Representative Garin, so there are 2 Garins at the House of Representatives, at least to my knowledge, Representative Sharon Garin and Representative Janet Garin. So Representative Sharon Garin cited jurisprudence from the Supreme Court in the JG Summit Holdings versus Court of Appeals case, where the justices upheld the removal of shipyards from the definition of public utility. Garin also cited that in the National Power Corporation, this is NAPOCOR versus Bataan provincial government case, the Supreme Court also ruled that power generation is no longer considered a public utility operation. The Supreme Court has upheld the removal of sectors previously considered public utilities. It should be further emphasized that the bill is entitled to the presumption of constitutionality, which every treaty, executive agreement, and statute enjoys. The AAMBIS-OWA representative said in a statement, the burden of proof is on the petitioner to clearly demonstrate that the assailed statute is unconstitutional, she added. One of the more vocal objections to it came from Gabriela Representative Honorable Arlene Brosas, and I quote, foreign ownership to our mobile communication services, mass transits, and oil extraction will not improve the quality of services. Rather, it will leave us all vulnerable to external shocks and the risks at the expense, of course, of ordinary consumers in the form of higher fares and fees, she added. Even the president's ally, Representative Remulla, objected to it. For Remulla, the framers of the Constitution wanted to protect the things that must exclusively be enjoyed by Filipinos, yet House Bill number 78 is now disregarding that. In Tagalog, isang ehemplo, telepono at internet. Di ba't ang telepono at internet ang siyang umuokupa sa buhay natin mula sa paggising, pag tayo ay nagbabasa, pag tayo tumitingin sa mga research, pag tayo tumitingin sa balita. Ngunit anong nangyari? Ngayon gusto nating ibigay ang mga bagay na ito sa mga dayuhan, the Cavite 7th District Congressman said. So, ang dami pa lang legislative district sa Cavite, whereas in Quezon we only have 4. One example, this is the English translation. Telephone and internet. Aren't the telephone and the internet things that occupy our lives from the time we wake up to when we do research and we read the news? But what has happened now? Now we want to give these things to foreigners. Sana po mag-isip-isip po tayo, hindi ito ang solusyon sa ating problemang pang-ekonomiya, he added. However, Representative Garin, the sponsor of this bill, said the 1987 Constitution's requirement that at least 60% of public utility enterprises' capital stock must be owned by Filipino citizens or corporations is limiting the country's economic growth. Read, the analysis, the real score on foreign direct investments. Why is there a need to further amend the Public Service Act? It is a fact that the public service needs of Filipinos are not being met, said Garin. What is the cause of this deplorable state of our public services? Economic theory points to lack of competition in the market. Foreign direct investment could provide the much needed capital. Companies with foreign investors could serve as competitors to local providers, she added. When I was in the old office, we could not apply for a functioning internet connectivity. It was one of the causes of the breakdown of our business, communication, and it provided, it caused cash hemorrhage, our cash was depleted because we had to purchase connectivity at a much, much higher cost. And even then, the fluctuation of the internet service could not guarantee, provide what we needed day by day. So I know how much, how important these services are. So the question remains, how does an average Filipino look upon one and all foreign companies? We deal with it on a case-to-case basis, right? We don't bundle them as one. I know this for a fact because we hail as heroes those whose eyes are open to risks, like how fellow Filipinos would jump from the balcony if unfortunately a foreign-owned household or a foreign-owned business located at the foreign soil mistreats them. For the average Filipino, there are good foreign employers as there are bad employers, and there's always the risk factor whenever they leave home for a contract abroad. And so the risk that accompanies each of these Filipinos abroad, it's quantifiable and it's qualifiable. There's a computation to the risk which comes in the form of monthly income that they can send to their family. So what the bill proposes is not a blanket authorization. Of course, there's also a risk in that if we allow 100% foreign ownership to operate here, a lot of things, it can breed a different kind of challenges that we may not be able to get on top of at the soonest possible time. But let me just say that it's not a blanket authorization, because if I know how one regulating agency works, especially for a foreign firm, it is riddled with sometimes duplicate requirements, and the regulators have put in place mechanism to oversee the operation. It's like the competition, the anti-unfair competition which can penalize, like Grab Philippines had been penalized different times when Grab and Uber had merged out of, when Grab had bought the operation of Uber here in Southeast Asia. They had to contend with supervision of anti-unfair agency. So there are measures in place. We are the one who will regulate them. Any change in the structure, there's a corresponding regulation that pertains to that, which is a far cry from what is currently happening to us, that in sending our workers abroad where they are more vulnerable, it is not within our power to weed out the bad and non-conformist companies, whereas if they are here, their primary objective is for long-term survival in our territory. The Filipinos, what their defenses could be, because they are on the forefront, they are so exposed to foreign influence and foreign direct actions. All they have are their two hands, two legs, their mouth, their physical person. And that's basically sometimes their first form of defense against any possibilities that can happen to them there. Since the lawmaking bodies are supposed to be representatives of the Filipino people, and what does, the respective family of our OFWs think of a foreign employer being regulated by foreign lawmakers, and these foreign laws being implemented by foreign executives, and they are judged by foreign judiciary if they get entangled with their laws, all these while being separated by great bodies of water before they can run for help to their respective family. What transcends the turf war is real lives, not just economics, but the social fabric of Filipino families. If foul play can happen, and it can happen anywhere, what's the best way to prepare for it? It depends on the sector of population that will be casualty. This is a favorite phrase of mine, and I think it's very appropriate in this subject matter. We can always negotiate from a position of strength rather than from a position of vulnerability. We can negotiate as it is. Sometimes it's almost always after the fact, because of course we are the one applying for a job. So they will publish the job vacancy, and it depends on our kababayan to apply for them. So we are the ones who agree to foreign countries to work there. In this case, it's the other way around. So let's put it into proper context. I think it's high time, to examine this situation, like our Filipinos are not working for humanitarian purposes, but because one economy benefits from their output, and so they are paid for what their labor can produce, right? So if we are going to have that kind of mechanism here, the kind of dynamics in here, among them can agree to a lower salary, but they will not leave the side of their family, diba? Especially for a female worker, diba? Yun lang yung mga gusto ko rin na mapag-usapan. This is yours. And I hope to be able to put this briefing properly, not just on the media, but as a matter of formal position paper with name and with whatever credential that I may have at this point in time. Thank you so much. This is your student, Clarissa Talca.